Greetings, comrades, and welcome to the Rad Gaming Podcast. I'm Jemshi.
And I'm Pescador. And in this episode of the podcast, we talk about a millionaire planning to host his own real-life Battle-Royale, the positive effects that playing video games has on your brain, and China's new ban on graphic and violent video games. Go figure.
This episode of the podcast is sponsored by Cento Fiore. Cento Fiore is a lifestyle fashion brand that sees beauty in cultural heritage and always strives to offer elegant and timeless style. Visit cento-fiore.com to join the family. That's CENTO-FIORI.com. All right, on to the podcast. Pescador, have you ever heard of hushhush.com?
No. It sounds like something super secret. No. I'm not.
So, from what I have kind of gathered from just browsing the website and, reading about it online, is that it's kind of like, I guess you could say like a Craigslist, like a Fiverr thing, except for like luxury items or like,
so lavish. Oh, the lavish life.
Very lavish things, but I don't know why they would. I'll have to look up again as to why it's called Hush Hush, but
because they don't want us common peasants to hear about it, I guess.
Yeah, if I can log on to this, it's not very hard and see what's up. So, one of the postings on there was somebody with the request, basically saying, "I need somebody to do this for me," and you can put like all kinds of requests.
Oh, so it's kind of like what's that?
Like Craigslist.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like these rich people are basically like, I want this thing. I don't really care how to like do all the research to find this. If somebody wants to do this, I'll pay them money. Like, oh, I need somebody. I'm going to pay them $1 million. Can you just make like this gigantic diamond, carved unicorn or something for me? You can go on there and do that.
Oh yeah.
Like, not really joking. I don't know why this is my mind.
Carved unicorn? That's the first thing that popped into your mind? That's an interesting thought.
Anyway, onto the next, onto the actual posting. So there was a posting that went pretty viral, is that this guy, he was looking for a game designer. And he said, hey, I need someone to help me design a Battle Royale inspired arena for the last person standing contest. And he's like, I need someone to help me design an arena. And he's like, hey, I need to, create this arena. And he was saying that like basically through this description of it, that it's going to be a 3-day event. Like for like this, basically they're doing PUBG in real life for this event. And
didn't you talk about this? About some rich dude wants to get this island for this thing? Like,
yeah, so he's basically this super rich guy is, basically they have an island and they want to create PUBG in real life on this island. And the winner is going to win a 100,000 pound jackpot, which equates to about $130,000. Which is still a lot of money.
So is it solo? Like you do it by yourself?
Yeah,
there's no team? Okay.
Solo queue. And
solo queue. A real life solo queue. They're gonna have like the waiting lobby, like they're just gonna have like some elevator music while everyone waits around.
It says that they're gonna have like you also get paid, every contestant that is in the game gets paid $2,000 a day. Or wait, I think
what? Just to be there? Dude, sign me up. I'm in.
Wait, I think it says, that was for the actual contract guy that designed the game, was $2,000 a day.
Oh, I was really excited. I was like, damn, that was my mess up.
Yeah, so, excuse me for that. But the jackpot is 100,000 pounds, which is, $130,000.
Okay. Makes more sense that way.
Yeah, but apparently they're going to play all, like, for 3 days. So this is almost like Hunger Games, where they have to kind of, like, go throughout the day and kind of live. But apparently at the end of the day, they're going to be like, cut it, and they're going to say, okay, day's over, we're all going to sleep for the night. We don't want somebody like
cheating.
I guess so, or something. So like they're all going to like go to like the camp or whatever, and then after the day starts, they're going to send them back out to their locations where they like left off. And then they're going to continue the make.
So they're going to like collapse the ring? Is that what's going to happen? Like, how is that going to work?
It looks like they have their own private island, and I guess that's why he wants somebody to help design this game.
Oh yeah, I'd pay someone $2,000 to do that because that's like a really tough task to do it in real life because you have to have the collapsible ring. You have to make sure that the people like all converge in the same locate. Like that's gonna be rough. So is it like one game, like winner take all?
Game.
Okay. Oh, that's rough.
I should also mention
it's
that
not
it's
even best of 3. Oh, I was gonna say, is it paintball or? I remember playing airsoft.
Yeah, I forgot that. I probably should mention that. Unless everyone probably listening to this right now was like, "Oh my god, real guns!"
People are
100 people coming in here. One person's coming out alive.
Oh my god!
Already a prize in itself is to being the one alive.
Yeah. Oh my god. No. Is there gun
like,
restrictions on this?
It's a private island, so I guess if you own it, you can do it.
No, but I mean, like, is there airsoft gun restrictions? Like, I saw. I used to watch YouTube videos of this dude.
Well,
that
it's
was
PUBG,
so good.
so I guess you pick up whatever.
I guess that they would provide. That's right. I don't know why I was thinking that you'd bring your own weapons. I don't know why.
Yeah, and apparently they have. It's said they're gonna have touch-sensitive armor, so that whenever you get shot, they can like.
How much money is this dude investing in this?
I mean, if you have a private island that you're working
touch-sensitive armor, though, for every contestant, like it's 100 sets of touch-sensitive armor.
And I'm guessing it's got to be like full body suits because I don't think.
Well, yeah, it has to be.
Yeah, because then I'm like, how would armor get come?
How would you bandage yourself? Is the question.
I guess I don't know. How would you like? You would need to know how much health you had. I don't know. It's just so.
I know that's what I'm saying. Like paying this guy $2,000 sounds like he's like really taking advantage of this dude for $2,000.
That's a Mr. Beast kind of thing because that's like that Mr. Beast had his $100,000 Apex Legends kind of like real life airsoft gun like challenge or whatever, and he ran that twice, so that was $200,000 for the big prize, and so that's already more money than this millionaire is trying to pay.
Yeah, this guy's.
So it's kind of like
shamed.
Wow, like Mr. Beast already kind of makes this look kind of like, $130,000 isn't really that much more than $100,000 twice. That Mr. Beast did. He was sponsored by like Apex Legends and everything, so they had
if he's sponsored by Apex Legends, because then he's getting money from that too, and you could just throw that on top of the PAL as well.
Right,
so
it was just like a.
If PUBG sponsored this dude, I'm sure he'd throw more money. Maybe they are.
Yeah, I would think that PUBG would need to do this. I know we'll have to talk about that, but so I know that like PUBG would probably love to sponsor this guy because this is what it's all about. Is he's like mentioned like, oh yeah, like. Battle-Royale. Well, he doesn't mention it by name.
Dude,
but it seems like very.
I just thought of something. Are they going to put pans in this game? Like melee weapons? Oh man, I would love that
against airsoft guns.
Okay, I mean, like kind of corner. I mean, if you walk around like in an enclosed building, I mean, melee weapon could be the way to go. You just hide in the corner, come out, bam.
I can't imagine being like, oh yeah, so I had this like thing, and everybody had this like, it was just airsoft and guns, and then somebody came up and
someone's gonna go to the hospital. Yeah, I was gonna say someone's gonna go to the hospital, get knocked out with a pan.
My only worry is that like with this like kind of game is like it reminds me kind of like the Fire Festival.
Oh yeah,
gonna be flown to an island. Everything's gonna happen, and imagine just being like, "Oh yeah, we got a tents full of food for the night and everything."
Yeah, and it's nothing at all what they had planned it to be, and it's like they're like tents are actually these little like crap like two person tent that's like just cloth, and you're like have to sleep on the floor. Everyone has to fight for their own place and stuff. Like, gosh. No, I'm just curious as to what the size of this island is because it doesn't mention anything, and also we don't know if this is for real. Like I don't know how setting up a posting on this Hush Hush website, like how this even works. Like, do you have to have like apply for it? Apply for the position, or is it already given out?
You can still apply.
Dude, apply for it.
All you need is your name.
Apply for it. Do it.
Email, phone number.
That's the way to find out if it's true. Apply for it.
List out your skills.
Do you got this? You're a developer, but you're not a game developer. But still,
I'll be a game developer soon.
Yeah, just say that you're the best game developer ever. That you have tons of experience. Do what everybody else does. Yeah, exactly. Do what everybody else does for an interview or job posting. They like lie about what they have.
Interview.
Yeah, exactly. And then just go in there and be like, "Yeah, I have tons of experience. See what this dude is all about. I want to know."
Yeah, well, I think if he's like a millionaire, he's going to be able to fact check anything I say.
That's true. He can pull up records of you. But
yeah, I feel like he's gonna like find like me and my family. He's gonna have like the hitmen out.
Oh my god, yeah, don't do it. I lied, don't do it.
There's these black men in these like men in black suits, like coming over.
Toss you in the back of a minivan. Yeah, right. Maybe not do that. I'd rather not lose my co-host. That'd be really rough. I don't know. I'd have to put out a rec for a job posting then too. I'd be like, hey, looking for a guy that knows something about video games, that's a little charismatic and has flowy hair. That's what I need to put out. So, but there's actually an interesting article, and I want to make a shift over to this. We've talked about in a previous episode how people were saying that video games leads to violence in children. But
right, that's feeling that comes up all the time.
Yes, it has, but there have actually been, and it depends on who does the study, and I'm not taking this is not the Holy Bible, I'm not saying this is 100% true, but there are some tests that are actually done, or some studies that were actually done by two main facilities. Like they were done by, let's see real fast, it was by a cognitive neuro lab, it's called Factory of Health and Science, and it's in Barcelona. And there's another neuroscience lab that was in Massachusetts, in Boston, Massachusetts, to be specific. But they did a study, and they held 116 studies on the human brain in people that use video games and people that don't play video games. So, and they focused on how the brain is structured after playing video games for an extended period of time. And what they found is that people that play video games have a lot more skill than people that don't play video games. And what they look
kind of skill.
So they say that they have an extreme attention rate for engineering. So they have a higher skill set for engineering in general. They have a better understanding of physics. They also have faster reflexes than people that don't. But I think the coolest one that I saw was they did a study on the structure of the brain itself, and they said that they found enlargement of the hippocampus. If I say that correctly, it is a hippocampus. The hippocampus. Okay, I say the hippocampus.
Isn't that the part of the brain for memory, or
it's for long-term memory, and it handles emotion. So they found that to be more.
Rage quits. No.
Oh yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. Actually, now that I think about it, but they're saying that like it's bigger than the individuals that don't play video games, because the way that they have to retain information for specific video games actually helps out that part of the brain. Which I thought was really interesting, because everything that comes out now is so negative about games, how games cause violence, things like that. They actually go on in this article to really talk about like the long-term effects of playing video games, and it's actually very good for individuals to do so. It really exercises the brain regularly, and they said that it can actually use it in school activities, because they found that students that actually are left to play video games actually learn better because they're more involved in whatever it is than if a teacher were to teach it. I don't know if you've ever played like a game like Word Munchers growing up. I
guess like edutainment is what they say, or
yeah,
like
I mean you can call it whatever you want to call it. Yeah,
I know it's a word. Like it's a word they like to throw out there. Where like let's make education entertaining instead of like a very black and white. Like here's how things are done.
Yeah.
Do it this method. There's no exploring, or I don't know. I think like typing has always been the only thing that I've ever like in school that I ever felt was like fun, because they make you play, like,
I hated typing games. Dude, I hated typing so much.
I never got good at it. That was
I remember ASDF space JKL sem space. Oh my gosh,
semicolon.
Oh my god. Yeah, well I said sem, so but it just well, it was semicolon, it was just a like quick like Jazzy Kangaroo's little semi, you know what I mean? Like that's just how to remember it. And what was the other one?
Really?
Oh yeah,
Kangaroo.
You've never heard that before, man. My school must be really strange then, I guess.
My school is just like, this is where you put your hands, because you're supposed to have your hands in the what is it like home row is what they call it, where you put your fingers when you're typing. It's right the middle of home row.
Yeah, something like that. I think.
I don't know. It felt like it was never like they never really encouraged like good typing, because they would be like, okay, we're gonna practice this for like 5-10 minutes, and then okay, time's up. and like, oh, you didn't pass. It was that weird thing where like you would see the people that were like struggling, and it'd just be like, oh, I guess they're just not going to be able to learn to type. And I was one of those kids, you know, like.
Jem, she's the one kid that didn't learn to type. I can see that.
Well, I ended up having to teach myself later on in life because I remember I had my first job where I was at a computer, and I remember my like mentor guy, because I was an intern, and he would like type things for me, and he was like just super fast, and he also had he was like one of those show off guys. He had one of those keyboards that had no markings on it. It was just all blank keys.
Yeah.
And he was able to type everything. And I remember I was just like, you can type your password on a keyboard with no markings.
I could not type my password without having, markings on the keys. I can't. It just won't happen.
Yeah, I was like, how did you what? But I was just so blown away by that. I was like, I have to learn to type. Like, this is so cool. And then I think after that summer internship, I ended up learning how to like type pretty without having to look at the keyboard too much. And I can type relatively fast and consistently. So I think that was like, I caught on to that way too late, because that was probably, I don't know, maybe 10 years later after that grade school like typing class. But anyway, let's segue back to some more gaming news.
Hold the phone. There is one quote that I wanted to say, which was really, really funny. And it was from the professor from University of Wisconsin. He actually ended up saying, like, after all these studies was done, like, he was saying that basically people that say that teenagers are very violent for playing video games is just a joke. I'm not quoting him just yet, but he was basically saying that everyone plays video games. And this is the quote. He says, everyone plays video games, so it's like blaming food because we have obese people. He's basically saying that that everyone's playing video games, so like the large, 1% would lose their mind and do some crazy act of violence, but there is that other 99% of the people that play video games that don't do anything ever. So he's basically saying like it's just a joke that people are claiming that video game causes violence because there's really no link between the two.
Yeah, that is true. Because then you would think that like with all the food that's out there in the world, if the problem, yeah, that's a good analogy there. Because then you think that like there's a lot of people that are really healthy,
yeah,
that eat a lot of healthy food, But I think there's also the argument that healthier foods are more expensive. I don't know. That's another topic for another time.
Yeah. But sorry, I interrupted you. Go bygone.
I wanted to talk about China's new gaming like law, like for like laws on the gaming, because China has like all these super strict rules. Which, China, if you're listening, I'm not.
You cool.
China number one. But they have a new law that now bans all video games in the country of China that have poker, blood, or imperial schemes.
So you're saying that things that are based off of gambling that could be addictive? Is that what it is?
I think it's that they don't want people that like play like gambling to be like, oh well, because I think it's more that they want to get rid of illegal activity or unwanted activity in the country of China, is the way that Americans would put it. But over there, they would say illegal. So they're like, okay, illegal gambling, imperial schemes where like they act like, I don't know, making making that thing look bad or representing it in a way that they don't find.
Yeah, but it's funny because a lot of the games that we play, they pin it on either Russia or China or North Korea. I guess there's a lot of games that do that.
Right, I know that they. Like they also have. I've seen that like they have like rules. If you ever see like China, like if there's any movie filmed with like in China or has like a Chinese actor or something, apparently there's like a weird like thing they put in the contract. They're like, we'll only let you like do this stuff if you make China like look like a good country or something. Like you have to make it look like China came and saved the day, or they helped out, or like. Like it was because of China that like something.
Oh, so like the only thing that they'll show in China is if they. So it's like propaganda. Is that what you're trying to say?
I guess like they want it like if you're gonna like go over and like film in there or like kind of do something where you need to like like if they're doing a favor for like this company, like this movie or like something like that, they always try to like like if you want one of our Chinese actors to be in the movie or something, like because like Crazy Rich Asians or something, like they'd be like, okay, if you want the Chinese actor guy to be in there, you have to like make China look good. You can't be like, oh, China, like, you know, they want you to focus on the good things, which I can see that's like a good thing, because I think China is like, what isn't it? It's the number one populated country in the world, right? It's either that or India. I remember it's one of the two.
India, I think second. I'm pretty sure it's second.
Second. Yeah, but I think they're also like, because they have so many people, there's so many people that like can be associated to China. They're like, I want everyone to think China in a good light, which I don't blame them. But I find that this new law pretty interesting because, like we've mentioned this many times, is that the mobile game market over in China is like insane, because it's just like everyone over there has phones, but not as many people have like you know, like their own console. Like they maybe do PC gaming or something, but I think a lot, if I'm not mistaken, is that a lot of the people do a lot of mobile gaming, because I think it's like a multi-billion-dollar market over there for mobile gaming. And I think it's just interesting that like no blood, that's like suddenly like, okay, because I know that the way they got around blood and violence was you ever see like gameplay and you always wonder, why is the blood blue, or why is it like a different green color or something like that? Is it because that was like the Chinese version where like, okay, we're not going to put red blood, we'll put a different color. Makes sense. But now they've even implemented that it's now no longer any type of blood. Like they could be, so that's like now like PUBG now they need to have like their own, you know, no blood mode or something like that. Like every game that has like any type of blood or gore or something. I think it's just like really
This is like desensitized individuals. I don't know.
They almost believe that like, okay, video games cause violence, and they don't want like people in their country to like go out and act these things. And it's like you said, where it's like there could be a million people that play this game, and only one of these guys comes out of here going like, wow, I want to do that in real life, you know, like. And is it because you're trying to prevent that one person that was crazy enough to do that is now like, I don't know. I guess my theory on that would be that one person who was crazy enough to like emulate a game would probably be crazy enough to do something else. So that just happened to be, you know what I mean? Like they were going to go crazy at one point in their life eventually.
It's weird how I guess it's not weird, but it's interesting how they approach this in a sense, because you think about it, like getting rid of blood doesn't really stop the violence being shown. I mean, I guess maybe desensitizing people is what I was trying to get at, I guess, with blood, just because showing blood or blood, like, you know. Yeah,
like they're just going to get used to it and they don't really like that.
Yeah, I mean, because the violence, you can't really get, there's so many games that have violence in them, no matter what it is. Like, even Kingdom of Hearts, like, you're swinging a giant key around, like, killing, like, things. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I guess they want like a very cartoony explosion. Maybe you kill a bad guy or something. Yeah, and
I don't know. It's interesting, but I do have the numbers on it. China's its population is like a 1.4 billion. That's what it says. Interesting.
1.4 billion,
and India is 1.3. Is that what it's saying right here?
Oh wow. So they're actually getting close then. So I thought India was not as far behind as. I thought they were a lot farther behind.
What's really strange is India is 1.3 billion, but they're actually more close to 1.4. So it's like 1,368,000,000.
Oh wow!
So it's kind of, and then China's at 1 billion. 420 million. So it's pretty close. I didn't think it was that close.
Yeah, like. Obviously, what is that like come to like 50 million people, and we're like, oh, that's really close. They just need 50 million more people.
Yeah, it's really weird. I guess
you would think. I guess we do have to account for the fact that China does have their child policy, where it's
they do, yes,
policy, to maintain their population, and I don't know if India has a policy.
No, they don't
like that.
Not that I recall.
I haven't heard of them do anything. I think it's. China definitely did better. So I guess you could say that it's working, where they know. I think if they're like, hey, we're no longer the number one populated country in the world, maybe that would like let up on that one child policy, but they are still pretty populated in most of their cities.
But it's all like, yeah, I was gonna say it's all cities. In the rural areas, they don't really have too much population. Yeah. So
it's always interesting whenever if you ever meet anybody, like I guess in America from China, and you ask like, oh, like what city are they from? They always mention the city, and then like they'll show you pictures, and it looks super like populated. It's like bigger than like any city that like in like America.
You know what's really funny?
Even, like, you know, one of the main ones I know.
No, it's really funny is the fact that I'm not even kidding when I say this. I work with a woman that's actually from China, and she's like, I'm from a small town. And I was like, so am I. You know, that's awesome. It's great to feel that. And she was like, how many people are in your town? I was like, well, I had to look it up, and it was like 2,100 ish people in my town. I was like, yeah, I graduated with, my graduating class was 50 kids. That's not even a joke. It was 50. And she was like, oh, wow, that's really small. I'm like, okay, well, what's your population of your town? And she was like 300,000. I was like, what? Wait, what? That's not small. That's not small at all, by all means. But that's small to them. It's really crazy.
That's like a standard city almost in America.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of the town that, or I would say city, the city that she lived in. But
city.
Yeah, she was like, it's small. I'm like, that is not small by all means. 300,000 people. That's like, I looked at the population of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. It's like 320 some thousand people. I was like, that's like Pittsburgh. That's not small at all.
Right.
Blows my mind.
Those cities are so close to each other, but.
Okay. Well, talking about cities and states, I do have a really interesting one for you, and I thought it'd be pretty funny to talk about this. So, I'm gonna botch this so bad. Sheboygan, Wisconsin. I think I'm saying that correctly, but it's obviously it's a Sheboygan. I'm hoping I'm saying that right, but
sounds like a Dragon Ball Z character.
Apparently, they're looking for. Yeah, it does, I guess you could. But the Sheboygan police are actually looking for 3 individuals that were caught trying to steal from video game machines. And what they were doing was taking a coat hanger and actually opening them up and taking money from them, the coins. But
video game machine?
Yeah, so
I'm not sure if I know what a video game machine is.
Well, I mean, let's put it this way. I looked through the entire thing. I believe, I mean, literally in this article says video game machine. I'm assuming they mean arcade machine because I don't know what a video game machine is either.
Oh, yeah, that would make sense. Oh, wow, can you believe somebody just...
No, so, yeah, I mean...
It'd have to be an arcade.
Poor
trying
person.
To steal money from it.
But it was in an Eco Lodge hotel lobby, and it shows the surveillance video, like shows them going and using a coat hanger. They got one. They said video game machine. It's so funny to hear it say that. But they got one machine. They got the money from that, and they're only getting coins. They're not getting. They can't be getting that much money. But like. They got one, and then they failed to get the second one, and they just left. And they left in a minivan, of all things. Like, why would someone...
Oh, you know what? I bet you it was one of those coin pusher games. That's what I'm going to guess. Probably, you know those games that like, have a ton of like tokens in there, and it's got like the like bulldozer or something?
In this article, it didn't say.
That's what I would have to guess, because that's the only thing I can
you could be right. Like, oh, you know, the claw machine, I guess, but how much money would you think you'd get from that?
I don't know, because like the thing is, I guess they would have to be actual like quarters. Because I know there's
That's what I'm saying.
Tokens. It had to be a quarters machine where like they actually get value by like walking away with it.
What's sad is the fact that all these guys are super old. They like give the description in here, like they said, like suspect number 1 is anywhere between 40 to 50 years old, 300 pounds. Like it just gives the like the guy, the other guy's like 40 to 50, and the one guy's 60 like years old. And, like, they're going around doing this. This is ridiculous. Like, how much money... Like, they're better off to rob a convenience... I'm not saying rob a convenience store is a good thing to do at all, but, like, why those machines? Like, it doesn't make any sense to me.
I guess it's just because... Like, my guess is it's going to be one of those coin pusher games, and there's just so much money probably on that.
Dude, I want to know what video game machine even means. Like, I looked all through this article trying to figure out what that means.
My guess is it's going to be that arcade game, but I'm going to guess it's because there's just so many quarters there. It's probably so much money that they probably like look at it like, if I could just get that one pile in, I've just made, quick $50 or something.
They're probably looking, dude, that looks real good right there. I'm gonna take all that coins. Can you imagine how many coins would be? Like 50,000 coins in there? They probably have no idea.
Because I'm thinking, like they had 3 people on this, so I'm gonna guess somebody was trying to knock the coins. The other 2 were probably like banging the crap out of like.
Can you imagine some 60-year-old dude shaking a machine? Like, I don't know, man. People these days blow my mind, but for them to like do this, they're in a hotel lobby of all places. I mean, like, you think like I can think of one place that you would probably not have surveillance. You'd be like, Pizza Hut. Like, geez, oh man, they have tons of like claw machines and stuff. Why don't they go there, for instance? But like, hotels always have video surveillance. What did they think was going to happen? Getting away in a minivan too, a red minivan. Like, jeez.
Do you still have Pizza Hut where you're at?
Yeah.
Oh,
is it not a thing where you're from? Like,
we used to. So where I'm from, we used to have a ton of Pizza Huts, and then I guess whoever owned like the big franchise chain or whatever in the area, like, just went bankrupt. So they shut down all the Pizza Huts, and all the Pizza Hut like locations got bought up. And for some reason, it was just like, we have a lot of good Mexican food now because all like the Mexican families bought these like abandoned restaurants and turned them into Mexican food places. So if like you see an old looking Pizza Hut and it's a Mexican restaurant, you're like, all right, that's a good restaurant to go to. So
it's really weird that you talk about that because when I was back in Pennsylvania, they had a Pizza Hut that I'd actually go on dates with. Like, they were like right beside a movie theater. And like,
your, like, feel late date.
Oh yeah, I was like 14, 13, whatever age I was when I was dating and stuff. And the best thing we do in our area, because we live in a farm town, was literally go to a movie theater. And then right after, we would take our date to Pizza Hut, which was literally a walk. Like, it wasn't that far. It was probably like 100, maybe 150 yards away.
Like across the street or something?
Yeah. It was like across this large parking lot, and there's like a Big Lots in between there, all that good stuff. But it's really funny because I remember how the setup was in Pennsylvania, and I come down to South Carolina, and I look at it, and I'm like, dude, this setup's the exact same way. Like, two of the Pizza Huts that I've ever been into, like, I don't go on Pizza Huts very often at all, but the two Pizza Huts that I've been in, they are set up the exact same way with exact same carpet, exact same, like, curtains. It creeps me out. Like, do all the Pizza Huts do that? Like, I'm just confused.
Yeah, because it's a Pizza Hut because they have trapezoid windows.
Well, yeah.
That's the giveaway. Where
do all of them have that? I mean, I remember that.
All the ones I've been to in my city, they all have trapezoid windows. And
now that I think about it, you're
Mexican
right.
Restaurants, and you see the trapezoid windows on a Mexican restaurant, you're like, all right, that was an old Pizza Hut.
That's interesting because I think you're right about that. I think they were trapezoid windows, but I'll tell you what, man. A Pizza Hut was... I don't go there anymore. I don't really get Pizza Hut pizza anymore. I don't even get Papa John's. I don't get chain.
You a Domino's guy?
No, I'm not really any. I do like local pizzas. Like I like there's like Stoney's Pizza. There's Mellow Mushroom. There's like other ones that I like actually getting. They're better than Pizza Hut in my opinion. But
yeah, I think for me, my go-to's always been Domino's. And I don't know. For me, it's like I like that Domino's, they season their crust.
Oh man, what about Little Caesars? That was like $5 pizza. I remember going to like Kmart.
Not had Little Caesars pizza.
What, dude? Every Kmart that I can remember had Little Caesars in.
Oh, we don't have Kmart's in my area too. A lot of companies went bankrupt in my city.
I don't have Kmart's near me anymore, but I mean, like where I grew up, there was Kmart. You know what really blows my mind now? Please, like, I know we're getting off topic and not talking about video games, but please, like, I'm really trying to think about this. Have you ever seen a Dollar General in somewhere that actually makes sense? Like, what I'm saying is, I'm driving out in the middle of nowhere. There's nothing in sight, and all of a sudden I run right into a Dollar General. Like, out of nowhere. It's just there.
I don't know. I've seen, like, the ones I've always seen, they've always been, like, in, like, those plazas.
Are you serious? I've never seen a Dollar General in a plaza before. And I'm not even kidding. Like, they're in the middle of nowhere with nothing around them.
Oh, like they're just a standalone store?
Yeah. It is the weirdest thing. Like, I'd be like, oh man, this is a farm. Like, I'll be in Ohio and I'll be like, cornfields, Dollar General, cornfields. I'm like, what? Doesn't make any sense. Like, the Dollar General came from nowhere. There's nothing around it. It's the weirdest thing. Like, what is their tactic? Like, we're going to be in the middle of nowhere, so there is no competition, and we will win out. Like, is that their method? Like, I don't get it.
Yeah, I feel like they'd always have to have, like, dollar gas or something, like the gas station, too. I can't see how that
what?
They don't. I'm just saying I feel like that they should, for them to work in, like, the middle of nowhere.
Gas station? Maybe that's their next move. Who knows? I mean, I don't see Dollar General buying gas.
Yeah, they can do dollar gas. They're going to be making bank.
Dollar gas. That would be awesome. I would love dollar gas, but that's never gonna happen.
Remember when it used to be $1?
Dude, when I started driving, it was like over $3 and something. It was unreal. And then it dropped, like, after I was driving for like, I don't know, 2-3 years, it dropped down to like less than $2. But like, I remember like going to the mall, and the mall was like a half an hour, 45 minutes away. And like, we'd be like, hey guys, we're poor, so if you can chip in to get gas with us, we go to the mall. You know, that whole spiel.
Yeah, I've had that too, where like me, because I would, growing up, I always had to borrow my parents' car. And I would always be like, oh man, so like the gas is kind of low. Maybe I'll just like drive it a little bit and bring it back and not have to fill the gas tank up.
My favorite.
Like, my parents were always like, you never drive the car back on an empty tank or like with it low gas. And I'd always be like, well, I don't know. I guess I'm just not hanging out with anybody today. Like,
my favorite is when my dad would let me borrow we did a Zuzu rodeo. And they let me borrow it, and we would go in, and I would drive it until like it was like 3/4 the way, like because it wasn't empty, and I'd give it back to them and be like, "Hey, it's not empty," you know. And they'd fill it back up for me and be like, "We're not going to do that again." I'm like, "We'll see about that." And I tested. There was this one time that I was like completely broke. I was like, "All right, 3/4. My dad got it. I know it." I came back the one day. He's like, good luck, you're gonna run out of gas. And I'm like, hey, you're supposed to fill up my tank, right? Just like didn't do it. And I was like, yep. I like went somewhere, and I'm not even kidding when I say this, like I didn't run out of gas, but like I know I wasn't gonna make it, so I was like, I gotta make a call, this is bad. So I had to make a call, but everything worked out just fine.
I have driven my car. I'm not proud of it, but I've had my car where like, you know, like the little like gas meter, it just like hits the thing, like hits the line, and you're like, oh, I should be out of gas any second now, and you start feeling the car go good, and you're like, oh no, like it's.
I've never run out of gas, but I've gotten to the point that I've gotten so close that I've actually had to put it in neutral a few times, like going down hills. I was like, all right, here's a hill, let's put it in neutral. Oh yeah,
gas savings.
I try the best I possibly could, and like I was like flying, so I was like, I'm gonna gain so much momentum. I don't know if it'd ever save me gas, to be honest, but I would like go really fast and then put it in neutral down a hill, and then like just let it coast. And then, like, I'll get halfway up the hill and hurry up and put it in drive, and then drive the rest of the way up the hill. Me and the glory days.
And thank you for listening to this episode of the Rad Gaming Podcast. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and rate and subscribe to us on iTunes or wherever else you listen to podcasts. We release a new episode every Wednesday and Friday. And as always, stay rad, comrades.